Hey everybody, I want to share with you how I like to use a cellophane or honeycomb to help me with my writing on cookies. I do have the tiny little tips from PME. This is the one. And I have the 00. I think the 00 I read on a blog that you should be straining it through a stocking, and I don't really have time for that. And this is the PME 0. And I have some other tiny tips. What's this? Oh no, this is PME 1.5. So I have all of those tips, but boy, I still struggle with them. I also struggle with having to cut that tipless bag. I can do it, but I usually have to run through 2 or 3 bags till I get the hole cut right. I flatten it against the seam. I cut it in both directions. I have tried it all and I'm just not good at it. So I have discovered that the honeycombs or the cellocones work very well for me. So if you've struggled with the smaller tips and you've struggled with the tipless bags, then this just is another option for you if you are like me and just can't get those other methods down. Now this is the consistency that I use, and it is the Dairy Queen swirl that everybody recommends when you read their blogs. So I didn't invent this, but I have found that I like a very soft and melty Dairy Queen swirl, that I really just like it to almost melt back into itself right away as soon as I start to jiggle, so that if I am piping some 3D letters or anything like that, that I can oscillate it a little bit and get it to smooth out. I also like that my icing's a little more bendy, so if I'm making an O, an S, anything with a curve, that is, a C, whatever's curvy, you're trying to do some cursive or script, then it'll bend a little bit easier. So if I jiggle it and it's not really melting into itself with that oscillation, then I just add a drop or 2 of water at a time. So that's the consistency I like. A melty Dairy Queen swirl. So now I am going to go ahead and show you how to do the cello bag, and I recommend getting a piece of tape ready before you start to roll. Just put it somewhere sanitary. I'm putting it on the back of my hand because it'll be easy for me to grab for the video, but you can put it somewhere close and sanitary. Wear your gloves and all that good stuff. But for the video, I'm just going to be glove free. Now I have pre-cut cellophane that I bought a while back when I was researching the honeycombs. But this cello bag that I bought off of Amazon to put the cookies in, it actually works better because it's the proper shape for the cone. The square cello sheets that I got originally, I have to cut them anyway, and this works perfectly fine. So I'm gonna actually split this bag up into 2 pieces. I'm gonna cut the end off there. And then you want one of the longer sides to be as straight as you can be. You want the end that you're going to roll up to be pretty straight. Probably easier for me to do when I'm not trying to do a video. But we'll just pretend that I'm cutting nice and straight. Got a little shaky hand going on here. But you probably won't when you're doing this yourself. Now I don't have a cookie to pipe on, so I'm just going to save that one side so I have something to demo with. And then, let's see, what's the straighter end? I don't know, they're both kind of crooked. Usually I can do this better if I'm not doing a video, but anyway, so I'm going to now roll that cone. And there are good videos out there, better than what I can do. that show you how to roll a cone. There's all different methods. You can use a pin or something to keep the end of the cone open. Just different ways, folding it forward or reverse, but the video that I found that I liked does it this way. So I'm going to go about maybe 2/3 of the way in at the top of the bag here. And I'm just going to make that the tip of my cone and just kind of pinch that down. And then I'll grab the upper right corner in between my fingers and I'm going to start to roll it. Probably not going to do as good of a job now because I'm thinking too hard about it, but usually when I do this on my own, when I'm not doing a video, it's a little bit easier to get it started. And then I'm going to take my thumb on the right hand side and I'm just going to hold down that little flap that I tucked under, and then I'll start to roll, making sure you secure the tip with your left hand and you secure that flap with your right hand, and you just start spinning it. Now you can use your thumb in like a sweeping motion while you're inside the cone to try to tighten it up as you're rolling, just keeping that tip where you're going to pipe out of nice and tight as well. And then as you get closer to the end, if you pull and push with your thumb on the right hand side, well, I'm right-handed, so it's going to be my right thumb. If you pull and push in while keeping your finger on the very inner part of the cone, you can change the size of the actual tip of the cone. But I'm not too good at doing that or estimating how big it should be, so I usually just keep it nice and tight and then just cut the tip later. It's actually a lot easier to cut for me than a tipless bag. Even though I'm still cutting the tip, it's a stiffer medium, with it being rolled up multiple times, that plastic being rolled up multiple times, and it doesn't really get that squashed when you're cutting it. There's no seam to get in the way, and it just works out a lot better for me. I still get a pretty good round hole on the end when I cut it. And you know, and I've had to do it more than once, but when I do the tipless bags, sometimes it's 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and that drives me crazy. All right, so now I'm going to put a piece of tape on the end. You can still see on the left hand side, there's the flap right there. I'm going to put the tape on the right hand side, and then I'm just going to keep spinning my cone, and it'll wrap that tape tautly around the flap and the cone. And you can add a little more tape if you want to. I'm not going to, but you can add a little more tape if you want. Now my tip of my cone is pretty sealed shut, and you can, if you want to, put a pin in there as you're rolling, or something that's on the skinnier side, like a cake tester. I've done that already, and it made a pretty decent size hole in the end, or a toothpick or something, but I just cut them later. Now this is still going to be a little bit long for me. I'm not going to fill this all the way up to the end. I mean, maybe I could try it this time, but I usually only fill it like 2/3 of the way. I keep it kind of small, and so maybe I'll cut a little extra. So my video cut off, and I didn't even realize it because I ran out of storage space. So I am picking back up here with filling up my cone. And as I said, I don't really fill it too high up, but I might try to go a little bit further than normal, but I just don't go really high. So sometimes I have to cut off the tip because there's just too much excess. All right, so I'm going to just grab a bag that I have filled with that Melty Dairy Queen swirl that I like to use, and I'll just kind of pipe it in there and squeeze it down to the end. And like I said, I don't go too high up. I just don't. Maybe I won't go that high anyway. I guess I usually go to about here. And then you could go a little bit further and it shouldn't squirt out of the top. If you watch the videos when they're doing henna cones, they take it up a little bit further. All right, so we're gonna fold. I'm gonna fold over towards the right-hand side. And I'll make a little triangle, and then I'll fold again, that flap over to the left. And then I do have some excess here, so I'm going to cut that off. Like, if you fill it up higher, you won't have to cut that off. And then I'm going to take the tip of this triangle and I'm going to fold it down once and then one more time. Just kind of roll that up. And then I'm going to grab a good sized piece of tape. When you watch videos of people making henna cones and filling them, I don't think they use this much tape, but I like a nice secure top. So I'll just put it across and then flip it up and then over around to the other side. I guess I just don't trust myself. But anyway, there's your cone. This is the one I did before. This is the one that I rolled for you originally before my video just stopped without me even knowing it. I did the whole darn thing and I didn't even know what cut off. All right, anywho, let's go ahead and do some piping. Okay, so I did start to cut this tip. This was the original cone I did, and I cut it, but nothing really came out, so I didn't cut it. I have to cut it again. I didn't cut it enough. And when you do cut, just go straight across. It is definitely more stable than a tipless bag, and you should get a nice circle. And this is still skinnier than what I normally do, but I just want to show you that you can type really small type pipe. Okay, so this is tiny, and because my Dairy Queen swirl was a little on the runny side and flexible, then I have bent to my icing. You don't want it too runny so that your icing completely melts, but you don't want it too stiff so that when you're trying to do curves, your icing has no flex to it. So you can go pretty tiny. Whoops, I lost my pressure. And that's my pinky. So you can see the A is pretty small. I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger. Oh, you know what? Let me show you the fill. So if you do want to do some like 3D letters and stuff, this icing is thin enough so that even if it looks lumpy when you are piping it in, if you just oscillate it a little bit, it'll get nice and shiny and it'll smooth out like so. And the tip's so skinny, you can even use that instead of a scribe to oscillate it. But you can go bigger if you want to, so I'll just do a little bit bigger. And maybe I'll do a little script, and I'll do an S. So we'll do a nice curvy S. And then I'll do an M. I'll start going smaller. Do an L. And that icing consistency just has that nice flow to it. If you make a little bit of a runny Dairy Queen swirl. But anyhow, that's how you use the henna cone, cellophane to do writing with more control. If you just have issues with using small tips, and you also have issues with cutting that seam on a tipless bag, even if you're trying to cut it in all directions, these work really well. And just a little disclaimer, it took me a day to practice to perfect it. So it's not something that should take you a long time to do. So I hope this helps for anyone who struggles with the writing like I do. And that's it.